face looks like
Does
crazy.
it?
Yeah, it looks super like lean.
Yeah, dude. I'm here. I can go show you in the mirror. Like I've been eating like shit, and I'm still got like some of the most ripped I've ever been. Here, I gotta turn the light on, I guess.
That's
Dang, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
What
dude.
did
And
you say you were
I've
weighing?
been eating 157 post training today without food. So
Sheesh.
I'm probably like 160 right now, but like at a heavy. This is like 160 that's been heavier than usual.
Because you were 185 back in May, weren't you?
183.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm over. Yeah, what's that?
That's
Over
25 pounds.
20. Yeah, 25-pound difference
That's
in 2
wild.
months, dude. Like right now, where my physique is, like where my walk around weight is, I could pretty easily fight at 145 in an MMA fight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I can
That
see
would be
that.
a really
You look,
easy cut. Like
yeah,
right now, my walk around weight is the walk around weight of some 135ers.
Hmm.
yeah. You see it a lot in your face though. As soon as you
Yeah,
start gaining weight and losing weight, first place I notice is in your face.
yeah, I can lean out a lot for sure. I think that
And your mustache is coming in too.
yeah, I
Got a
got
bit of
that
a
creepy
pedo
little
stash coming
mustache.
in.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of greasy right now, but we're working on it. I don't have a razor, so we're roughing it out here.
Nice.
That's okay.
So
Yeah.
Grow out the stash for a little bit.
how are you feeling
What's
about
that?
Vegas in a couple weeks?
Dude, it's not a couple weeks. It's tomorrow or Tuesday. 2 days.
Oh, you leave on Tuesday.
I leave on Tuesday, man.
That's crazy.
Weigh in on Thursday, and the competition's on Friday or Thursday.
On Thursday, you weigh in on the
Yeah.
same day you compete?
No, it's weigh-ins are on Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, and that's when the rule seminar and everything is. So, yeah, they're gonna go to that, and so I only actually have to get down 2 pounds right now. Like I probably could have made 66.
That's
Looking back,
crazy.
yeah, dude, I can't believe this. Where the weight's been just naturally at lately down here. It's wild.
Yeah. And do you think that's just because of like your diet and your training schedule, or what do you think's causing that?
Um, I think that definitely has to do with it, and I think it just has to do with like just the fact that my body has been able to kind of find a point of rest. Like I think that my metabolism almost is picked up because like my body's actually like not overtraining anymore. So it was kind of able to balance like it all feels like more balanced now, right? So I feel like
Interesting.
my metabolism is almost actually picked up, not slowed down.
Wow. Wow.
But
So
yeah.
how are you feeling about ADCC in general and going and obviously competing, but then also watching?
Oh dude, it's gonna be a really good event for sure. I can't wait. I actually yeah, I think that it's going to be a super super entertaining event, and there's going to be a lot of upsets, dude. Like all these brackets are insane. So once we see what the actual like brackets are going to look like in terms of like who's going to go against who, dude, it's gonna be really interesting to start making predictions. But until then, I don't really know how to make predictions.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah, do they have the official record yet?
No,
The
they're what?
official matchups?
No, so they're making the brackets on the Friday before the event. It's when they're releasing them at least. So we're not going to see them until literally like 24 hours before they start.
interesting.
And
And do
what's
you know if
also
we could
wild is
watch it off your thing? Yeah, your Flow
Flow
Grappling
Grappling. Yeah,
account?
we can watch it off my Flow Grappling.
Okay.
Um, what's also interesting about it is they have to weigh in 3 days in a row. They have to make weight.
Really?
So there's not really like you have to
Yeah,
fight at your weight.
you really do, but they're all like some guys are still cutting weight for this.
Really?
Yeah, like Gary's getting down. Gary Tonin is going to be in the 66 kilogram division, which is 145 pounds, which is the weight that he fights at in MMA. Because like he's fought all the way up into the 77 kilogram division, which that 77 kilograms is like 168, 170, and he's getting down to 145. So there's no way his like walk around weight is still like 145. It's probably about 150 at the lowest.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting in terms of that, and that really changes the dynamics because there's some guys who would definitely beat other people on certain like if it in under different conditions like a who's number one or an EBI or something like that. right? But when they meet in ADCCs, that person who does have that size and strength advantage may not have that anymore with this 3-day weigh-ins. So it's gonna be interesting to see once they release the brackets, because we get to see who's gonna go against who, right? Because like I think that certain, like, especially once you get up into the heavier weight classes, there's some guys, and if they have, like Craig versus Nicholas, whatever side they're going to be on in the 99 kilograms, like it's going to really drastically change what the finals are going to look like, right? Just in terms of when, like, how certain people, who certain people have to face off against to get to where they need to be, and in how tired some people are going to be versus others. And all that's going to play a big factor into picking who's going to win each bracket. So you can't even make predictions until you see those brackets come out.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people have been interested in, especially with this year's ADCCs, is that there's a lot of very high level people all in the same division, which means that out of all of these high end, like Nicholas Marigali, Gordon Ryan, Andre Galvao, all these different guys, being in the same weight divisions, you're gonna have some champions losing, and it's really a test of all the greats right now.
Andre's not competing in a weight division.
Oh, is he not?
No, he's only competing in the super fight with Gordon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
it's just Gordon who's doing the super fight and the division.
Yeah, and nobody's ever done that before.
Wow.
So that's what makes it so unprecedented. Like, yeah, Andre is just doing super fights. I think Andre may have done it once before, but I don't think he did the absolute too. And I think Gordon's doing all of them.
Gotcha. That's wild.
Yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on Austin now that you're back training in Calgary and back living and being able to process the trip for like a week?
I personally have come back, and I definitely feel like I'm actually like a little bit further back than I was before I left Austin. I think I'm just having difficulty figuring out how to actually use what I learned down there in live roles and just in different training sessions. And I've also happened to have a couple of injuries, which has really sucked too. And I never really had injuries before, so now I'm starting to get them, which is a little bit weird. But yeah, it's been a little bit rough, but I think it might be one of those situations where it's, one step back, 2 steps forward. And I'm hoping that it just takes a little bit of figuring things out, and then I'll start to see the benefits of being in Austin in like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I would say I had completely opposite reaction coming back here. In Austin, I feel like I wasn't like improving that much, but now I feel like I have a better view of the game and like where my actual weak points are and where my strengths are, and like how to like kind of build a game around that. And I can see where I was making mistakes before, whereas like before I went to Austin, I had no idea what I was doing wrong, and now I kind of actually like understand the game a lot different, so I could like actually start building on those mistakes and try to like actually put together a game.
Nice. So would you guys say, like, how would you say you like view the trip looking like back on it now? Not necessarily in terms of like training now that you're back in Calgary, but just like the things you learned. Like, what are a couple of things that you did learn down here that now you're trying to highlight in your training? Or like, what are new perspectives you gained from this trip? I guess we'll make it a 2-hitter question.
I think one of the big things that I was trying to focus on in training down in Austin, and I've tried to also focus on a lot back now that I'm in Calgary, is half guard passing and passing from half guard, getting that knee slice, like that step in, or even like Toriando passing, and then working from half guard. That's something that I noticed in my last competition was lacking. I just didn't have good half guard game on top or on bottom, but especially on top. And so that was one of the things that I was grateful to learn a lot about in Austin. And I've definitely been trying to focus on that, and it's been not bad. But the other thing that I'm really trying to focus on now that I'm back in Calgary is the Toriando passing. And that's where I'm still like getting a little bit caught up. I just need to figure out how to do it well in gi and just do it against bigger opponents, I think, as well. So it's gonna be a learning process.
For
I
sure, for sure. Toriano passing in the gi too is definitely different than no gi. Like just in terms of some of the grips and whatnot, right? Like you're not necessarily trying to just like C grip the shoelaces. You're trying to like gather like the inside of their pants with like a pistol grip or like a pocket grip, right? And then fighting for the knees. You can fight for knees a lot easier and just go for knees a lot easier with Toriano passing in the gi because of the pants grip that you can get. Whereas in no gi, your hands are just resting in the knee, and it's a lot easier for them to establish dominant wrist control from that, right? So
Interesting.
in no gi versus gi, with that change in grip, like Toriano passing does change a lot.
Definitely. And I've also been noticing that I just need to adjust my hand fighting when I'm in the gi and going for that Toriano passing, because in no gi you can kind of like grab the ankles, and even if they go for your hands, you can still have a decent amount of control. While as in gi, if they get those sleeve grips on your hands, they can throw you around a lot, and it's harder to keep that grip on. Like I've been using pistol grips, which I think something I need to do. But when I'm just like doing C grips, they just throw me around with the sleeve grips. So
Yeah. With the nice thing about passing like a person, an opponent who's lying down on their back in the gi is you can elevate their legs a lot easier too. And with
mm,
that elevation, you can then start like, you know, looking for double under passing and or like seeking the back from there too. So
interesting.
I think that it's honestly a more dominant like passing position in terms of where the attacker's at and where the defender is at than in no-gi. It's just slightly different. You're not like you can create the angles easier in the gi than in no-gi.
Mm,
Yeah, I think I would actually agree with Noah on the half guard. I had no half guard defense. Like as soon as I got into half guard, I would just be like looking for some way to regain my guard and not really going for anything like advancing position. But like after Austin, I definitely try to like look for sweeps or even like getting in good position well there in my half guard, or like when I'm on the offensive, I'm okay with going into people's half guard as like a more advantaged position than open guard. So that's been pretty good. And like a lot of the hand blocking that John shows with like just like getting that collar grip behind the neck and then like posting with one hand so they're not rotating into you. Found that has been super effective. And I don't think a lot of people notice exactly what's going on because like they just can't move because like one hand's blocking the hip and one hand's pulling them into your other hand. And it's been super effective in passing guard.
So what are your guys' training schedules looking like moving forward for the next little bit in terms of back to a more or a busier lifestyle with school and work opposed to just training? Like, so what does your both your training schedule look like and moving forward your diet and like weights schedule look like? Because I know that's another thing that we talked about while we were down here. So all of us kind of getting back on that grind to put on a little more size and whatnot. So what are your guys' like schedules looking like now on?
I'm still gonna be training pretty frequently. Like I'm gonna try to go 4 times a week. One of those hopefully being open mat and then weightlifting the other 2 days. So yeah, because I could definitely go at least 3 times, at least 4 times a week with the
And
open
what are you
mat so
doing
far.
for diet? Have you made any changes to that?
Not right away. Like I want to get the training section like locked in, like have a consistency there, and then try to um start like critique, like trying to build my diet around that, seeing how much energy I have in training, how much weight I'm gaining, all that kind of stuff, and then
I see.
slowly adjust my diet regard like looking at that.
Are you going to be taking making protein shakes and adding that into your diet with any like mass building products or creatine, or do you think you're just going to stick to the meat and potatoes, I guess?
Yeah, well, I'm most likely gonna start taking creatine again. That honestly, creatine is really good. It's not like a miracle supplement or anything, but it definitely helps with like energy throughout the day. Makes training feel a lot better too. So I think I noticed a lot of benefits to using it. So I'm definitely gonna be on creatine, and I just make protein shakes whenever I'm like I notice that I haven't had a lot of protein like in my diet for the day. It's kind of like a day-to-day thing.
So you're not gonna
And
regulate them in and plan them in as a part of your day to day.
I'm just gonna like feel it out. Like if I don't have a lot of protein one day, I'm gonna have a protein shake. But if I'm having like a lot of meat and a lot of protein, I'm just not gonna have it because there's no
Because
point.
I think another important thing that you can even get in protein shakes is carbs. That's a big thing. It's just getting liquid calories. I think that's a necessary thing. And I think adding things like peanut butter, oats, and like fruits is a great way of getting a lot of like minerals as well as carbs in your diet. You know, adding milk as well. Um, and I think that's a great way of just getting liquid calories too, right? Because it's a great way of just getting like a lot of calories in a lighter way, right? So I definitely think that they're a pretty important thing that need to be added. But if you wanna try without, then I guess that's your call.
Yeah, like I don't there if you're eating real food and eating enough, like you don't necessarily need it, but like it's all gonna be dependent. Like if I'm not really gaining weight, then obviously I'll s- like add like a protein shake like once a day or like a couple times a week just to see how it goes. And like I'm just gonna play it by ear because there's no rush to get like add any size right away.
Right, right. What
Yeah,
about
I
yourself, Noah?
yeah,
How's your
I
training
think
looking like
that
moving forward?
well, I mean, in terms of training, I guess first, I'm gonna be going 4 or 5 times a week and then doing weight training on the day or 2 days that I don't end up going. Um, so I want to do a lot more open mats because I'll be training on the weekends more now, than I was previously, and less like during the week. So yeah, I went to an open mat on Saturday, which was a lot of fun. And I'm just really interested in cross training and getting a bit of seeing what other gyms are doing and kind of the similarities and differences and just different picking up different things from different professors. In terms of diet, I'm really trying to focus on just high caloric intake, and making sure that's like good calories too, not empty calories like pop or sugary things, something like that. Trying to make sure that I'm sticking to mostly natural things like meat and rice and vegetables. Um, and it's been good so far. I definitely, now that I'm eating a lot and not eating junk food all the time, like I'm noticing I'm a lot more hungry and can eat a lot more, which is interesting. But sometimes it's a bit of a chore to make sure that you're eating enough too. But I think that in terms of feeling good for training, feeling good outside of training, having a good training session, it's super important to make sure you are eating enough and you're getting enough calories into you. So I'm really trying to focus on that.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I think another thing about like diet, like I feel like just only focusing on how much you're eating is can be like a bit of a backwards loop sometimes. Like you're just trying to eat as much as possible. You don't really get anywhere. Like specifically for training, I think you gotta like also look at like what your micronutrients are looking like
Mm.
and like making sure you're actually eating healthy whole foods so you could actually like function effectively on the mat and through your training.
No, that's a good point, and that's kind of why I'm trying to introduce a lots of different vegetables and even like fruits into my diet as well to make sure that I'm getting that broad broad array of not just like the macros but the micros as well.
Yeah. I think it's also good for like injury prevention as well.
Yeah,
Like just like if your body is functioning more optimally, you're less likely to get injured.
it's a good
Like
point.
there's so many things that play a part in like injury and like performance. So trying to optimize that is probably really good.
Yeah. What are you guys looking to like? How are you looking to structure the workouts you do have on those, since you're going to be doing like 1 to 2 days a week, in terms of like, are you going to like switch back and forth between upper and lower body? Are you going to do full body workouts on those days? Is it going to be like weights? Is it going to be mostly body weight? Like what are those workouts gonna look like?
I'm playing
I'm gonna be
around.
doing full body workouts, or if I like, I want to be hitting all like my whole body at least twice a week, right? So if I'm only training to like 2 workouts a week, then I'll do full body for both of those. But if I'm able to get like some weight room time as well as jujitsu time, those days, like if I could get 4 days in the weight room, I'll probably do like upper body, lower body splits on those days.
So are you
But
going to change it week to week, or are you going to kind
no,
of like plan
I'm
it
gonna
out
see
for
what my
like in like
schedule.
4-week blocks?
I'm gonna definitely. I still need to figure out like exactly what each week will look like with like school, because we only had 1 week of school. It was like not like full, like it wasn't like in the full swing of things. So now that like next week is gonna be a good indication of how often I can actually start training. So as well as like I'm doing like outdoors club, which is a lot of rock climbing and hiking. So there's gonna be a lot of different activities going on. So we'll have to base it off that. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm gonna focus more on just like strength building. So like in the weight room, just trying to get more numbers on those like squatting, deadlifts, bench press, shoulder press, just getting those numbers up.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
What about yourself?
I'm trying to
Yeah.
do a bit more running. I really enjoy running, and I think it's a really good workout as well. And so I'm gonna try and do more running, just improve my cardio as well. I think that that's a really helpful thing in jujitsu if you can outpace your opponent, especially if you're competing. That's definitely an advantage. Um, and then outside of that, just probably messing around in the gym. I don't like, I'm gonna shoot for 5 days a week of actual training. And then if I have to do 4, I do 4. But my goal is to hit 5 days, and so just have that last day as a day to run and do a bit of active recovery as well. That's kind of the way I'm trying to approach it. So yeah, how about you? Where are you sitting at with your diet and training as you're quickly approaching your tournament here?
That there's been no structure, no consistency in anything, just in terms of the sickness that I've had as well as my knee. Um, I mean, that's not totally true. There's been structure in terms of what I've been doing each day, but in terms of how frequently I've been training, that has been something that's lacking, because like I found that this sickness I've had is definitely drained my energy and left me very inconsistent in terms of how much energy I can expel towards training a day in a day, as well as where my knee is at with training jujitsu specifically.
Hmm.
Um, Moving forward though, once the knee gets better and I get back to Calgary, where I have access to a regular gym as well as jujitsu, I'm gonna look to be moving to training jujitsu like 6 days a week, and then doing 4 days a week of weights. But I'm gonna switch it up to where I'm not gonna be focusing as on bench press as one of my main lifts for upper body, but I'm going to move it to an accessory for a pull-up day. I'm going to start to focus on building back strength, specifically pulling through pull-ups again. I'm going to look at building that back up instead of looking to build up a bench press as the main focus. So I still will be benching, but it's going to move to the accessory where pull-ups were before, and now pull-ups moving to the main exercise for that day. I'm gonna keep shoulder press as the primary one for my other upper body day, and then I'm gonna just continue with my squat and deadlift, doing a half-hour workout of those on my lower body days, mixed in with a half hour of like more knees over toes recovery, mobility sort of exercises as the other half of those days. And then the big thing that I want to be changing, aside from the pull-ups over the bench press is I want to be changing my diet also. So I'm gonna look at starting to buy some more of my own groceries, primarily chicken breasts and rice, as well as either broccoli or asparagus, and have that as like a consistent dinner, like 5 days a week. Then have like 2 nights where it's a little more like, casual, like if mom makes something or I go out for dinner, as well as buying more like a really good array of stuff to have daily protein shakes as well. So those are the changes I'm looking to implement, as well as having a better breakfast moving forward too. Breakfast with like on days that I work has been something I've neglected for the past year, and I think that missing out on those calories in the morning and going right to work puts my body still in that fasting mode, and your body's in ketosis a little more. You burn a lot of calories in that early part of the day. So looking forward, like looking to gain weight in the future, I'm going to start to look to break my fast as soon as I wake up, whether that be with some sort of granola bar and a banana, or a bowl of oatmeal or something like that. So we'll have to see what that looks like when I get back, but those are the changes I'm looking to make.
That's awesome. That's really smart. All right, gentlemen. Well, it's been great to chat with you all, and catch up. It's going to be a great episode next week. Debriefing after the competition. It'll be great to hear all the stories and events and everything that took place. So have a great evening, gentlemen, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Later, boys.
Yeah.